Shalom, I'm Rabbi Michael Panitz. I'm the Rabbi of Temple Israel in Norfolk, Virginia, speaking to you from the pulpit of our synagogue. At this time, I'd like to speak to you on the subject of transforming curses into blessings. What's a bigger miracle than a talking donkey? Apparently, getting a man bent on cursing to open his mouth and recite words of blessing. That is the message of the Torah portion that Jewish people are engaging with this week. The story of Bilaam, the internationally famous prophet hired by King Balak of Moab to curse the Israelites, who blessed them instead. And the story is found in the book of Numbers in the Bible, chapters 22 through 24. The most famous vignette from the story is the miracle of God opening the mouth of the beast that Bilaam was riding. She spoke words of truth to power, but blinded by anger, Bilaam was unmoved by the miracle he had just witnessed, a talking donkey. Only when God opened the eyes of the seer could Bilaam truly see. At that point, he saw the angel of the Lord standing and blocking his way. The faithful donkey had seen what the famous seer did not, a rich irony. But that is not the climax of the Bible story. And indeed, this is a story with a memorable climax. Bilaam arrived at Moab and had Balak provide multitudes of animals for sacrifice, presumably to propitiate God and guarantee that God will respond to the king's request. But God cannot be bought off. 3 times Balak and Bilaam tried to get curses to come out, and 3 times God filled Bilaam's mouth with words of blessing instead. Angry, the king sent him home, but Bilaam got in the last word, prophesying the destruction of the kingdom of Moab before he left the scene. The rabbis coined a proverb. The 101st repetition of words of Torah is not the same as the 100th. That is the ideal, that each time we re-engage with sacred texts, we are open to another nuance of meaning. Rereading the story this year, I feel a new kinship with it beyond what I have experienced in a lifetime of reading. That is because the array of people eager to curse Israel is more numerous than anything in the living memory of our people. Indeed, our isolation is worse than it has ever been since the Holocaust. The question then is, how can we help turn the would-be purveyors of curse into speakers of blessing? First, a sober acknowledgement. That would probably qualify as a miracle. The rabbis teach us that a good posture for the Jewish mind is to believe in miracles, but not to rely upon them. It is up to us to do whatever we can in the arduous task of combating the misinformation and prejudice that has turned the Hamas atrocity of October 7th into an enormous win for terrorism. I have no miracle cure. My prescription involves constant patient outreach, taking into consideration the different places where our several interlocutors find themselves. But I'm sure that a defeatist attitude, an attitude that, quote, no matter what I say, haters gonna hate, will make for less success than a determination to keep reaching out will net. I myself have engaged individuals and groups. Some of them are more conservative, some in the more progressive part of our political spectrum. There is no one-size-fits-all speech that works like a charm. It is a matter of patience, of listening as well as speaking, and of a willingness to stay engaged with people I would frankly enjoy having nothing to do with. The stakes make it worth the discomfort. There's also one important fact that in our tendency to circle the wagons when feeling attacked, we are likely to forget. We are not perfect. Neither is the state of Israel, which we love. It does better than any other state I know, faced with the level of murderous hatred that it is bombarded with every day. But again, it is not perfect. Perfection is not to be found this side of the kingdom of heaven, which is why in the words of the Kaddish, V'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechon, we still pray for its coming. The most famous words in the oracles of the prophet Bilam are Numbers chapter 24, verse 5. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov. How good are your tents, O Jacob. The rabbis were intrigued by this phrase. What about the sight of tents of the Israelite encampment inspired Bilam to words of blessing? The rabbinic answer is that Bilam saw how the Israelites arranged their tents with their openings off alignment from each other so that there would be no invasion of modesty and privacy. We can generalize from this point. For Israel to be blessed, one of the several vital concerns that Jews and Israelis need to keep in mind is that their house needs to be in order. In Israel today, there is much discussion about putting its house more in order. To name just a few of the issues that are very much on the public agenda in Israel: the fair sharing of the burden of the defense of the state needs to begin to include the ultra-Orthodox community, who have been indefensible welfare cheats and shirkers of communal responsibility. The Israel Defense Forces has begun to acknowledge its failure of readiness, but more needs to be done. The Prime Minister has not even made that hopeful start. He is widely suspected by Israelis themselves to have allowed self-seeking political considerations unduly to influence vital questions of state security. I trust the Israeli commitment to democracy, and I have faith that Israel will tackle its in-house problems better than most or even all others could do. But that is not the same thing as denying that there is work of improvement to be done. As we say in our daily prayers, may God bless the state of Israel, the first flowering of our national redemption. And I would add, Reshit Tzemechat Geulatenu, the first flowering, not the full flowering. May we live to see further tikkun olam, further repair of this broken world, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, in our own lives, in our own days. Amen.